Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Kevin C., and today we're diving into a topic that affects most of us, screen addiction. Whether it's our phones, tablets, or computers, we're spending more time than ever in front of screens. But what drives this behavior, and why do so many of us struggle to disconnect? In this episode, we'll explore some key theories behind screen addiction to better understand what's happening beneath the surface. Let's start with John Seward's model of psychological needs. Seward, a professor of clinical psychology, suggests that screen addiction stems from our fundamental human desires. Whether it's the need for sex, achievement, or belonging, screens offer us a way to satisfy these cravings. For example, people turn to online pornography or cybersex to fulfill sexual needs. Gamers, on the other hand, use screens to experience a sense of mastery or achievement through virtual victories and online competitions. But it doesn't stop there. Seward also highlights how screens allow us to project altered versions of ourselves, creating online personas that let us interact with others in new and sometimes more appealing ways. This online identity becomes a way to escape or even transcend their real world limitations. In fact, studies show that 98% of college students use screens weekly to maintain relationships, using technology as a tool to stay connected with friends and family. Then there's the need for self-actualization, which is all about becoming the best version of ourselves. Some people feel they can achieve this more easily online, where they can explore their interests, share their thoughts, and receive validation from others. Though it's hard to say whether this truly reflects their real identity, many feel more themselves when in cyberspace. Moving on to another model, the compensatory internet use theory. This one is particularly interesting because it suggests that people turn to screens to cope with negative emotions like stress, depression, or loneliness. Now, when life feels overwhelming, we often escape into our devices. For some, social media becomes a lifeline, offering social interaction when they feel isolated. For others, screens are a distraction from problems or an emotional crutch in times of difficulty. Research backs this up, showing that people dealing with anxiety, low self-esteem, or other mental health struggles are more likely to develop addictive screen habits. In these cases, excessive screen use becomes a coping mechanism, a way to fill the void left by their real-life challenges, whether it's job loss, relationship struggles, or major life changes. Screens provide comfort, entertainment, and even emotional support. Lastly, let's take a look at Richard Davis's cognitive behavioral model. This theory focuses on how our thoughts shape our screen addiction. Davis breaks screen use into two categories: specific pathological internet use, PIU, where people use screens for a specific function like gaming, and generalized PIU, where screen use is more unfocused, such as aimlessly browsing online with no particular goal. What's key in Davis's model is the idea that maladaptive thoughts or negative beliefs about ourselves and the world drive our addiction. For example, someone might think, I'm only good at things online, or I'm worthless offline, leading them to depend on digital interactions for validation. This cognitive distortion creates a cycle where screen use reinforces negative thinking, which in turn fuels more screen use. These negative thoughts can be about the self or the world. Thoughts about the self often involve rumination, constantly thinking about problems related to screen use, which prevents people from taking action to solve their issues. These individuals may feel stuck in a loop of negative self-appraisal, where they believe their value only comes from their online presence. On the flip side, cognitive distortions about the world might involve beliefs like the virtual world is the only place I feel accepted, or this online community is where I truly belong. These kinds of thoughts can lead to further isolation from real world interactions, deepening the reliance on screens as a source of comfort or connection. In closing, screen addiction goes beyond just excessive use. It's tied to deeper psychological needs, stress, and negative thought patterns. Next time you're scrolling or gaming, pause and consider what's fueling your behavior. Thanks for tuning into this episode. I hope it gave you some food for thought and a better understanding of why we're all so hooked on our devices. Until next time, stay mindful of your screen time and remember, balance is key. Take care.